Hi, I'm Richard with Song Devotions. I bet every once in a while you meet someone you say, that story can't be real. That's not, he made it up. That's a movie or it's a fictitious story about someone and you say, that's not real. You're about to meet a guy and his wife whose story sounds like a movie, sounds like somebody made it up, but it's a real life story about a man and a lady who met in Knoxville, Tennessee, who were homeless, drug addicted criminals and stole guitars and stole cars. And he somehow ended up in St. Augustine, Florida, as a worship leader and as a professional musician, and his wife as a significant business leader of the community. How does that happen? I mean, am I making it up? Well, Tennessee and Laura Beth Worthy's story can't be told in one video. That's why I put together this series with my team, because it really needs to be told in segments, and you can hear the detail about each encounter with God along the way. And I've heard some people say, some pastors and people who are Christian friends of mine say, that you really know Jesus Christ is real from the lives that he changes. This life, these two lives, have seriously changed, and it's a testament to Jesus Christ and his love for us. I hope you'll join me in this journey as we go together to see and meet Joshua Tennessee Worthy and his wife, Laura Beth. You were telling that story in St. Augustine about how you got your guitar. Can you tell these guys that? That's amazing. How you got the guitar you play now. You were going to do your first gig. Remember that? And you had
the one where the guy stole my guitar.
Well, there's that too.
Where I met the man, the old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild, man. That was one of the first times I ever prayed, and said a prayer and asked for anything, and really prayed with the confidence that I'm talking to God. And what had happened is I'd been to church on Easter of 2020, and it had a profound effect on me to see somebody living it out. And so we got dropped back off, and I'm playing music on the street, and a lady walks up to me and offers me a tryout gig. And this is before it was like Friday. She said, "Would you like to come try out at my place on a Monday? And this is my big chance. This is my opportunity. I'm getting a gig. But the only problem is my guitar didn't plug in. I needed a guitar that plugged in. I needed a microphone and some cables, and I had none of that. But what I needed to do was play my guitar all weekend so I could have the money to do that, because that's what I did. The problem was I called the guy that could make my guitar electrified and asked him about it, and he told me it'd be about $80 and it would be about 48 hours. And so I was in a bind because I needed to play to make money, but I also needed to give him my guitar.
That's right.
2 days
Yeah.
you had to be without.
And so I remember praying, and I remember just taking a moment to pray and say, Lord, if I'm going to be a musician, if that's going to be something that you have for me, I'm going to need some help. I don't know what to do. I'm going to need some help. And so I decided, I said that prayer, and I wasn't even super confident, really, to be honest with you. But I decided I was going to take the guitar, and I had to walk. I had to walk my guitar. It was about 7 miles. And I had to walk my guitar to this dude and give it to him. So we got up and started to walk, and we made it to the square, and there was an old white-haired man in the square as we walked by with our guitar, and he just hollered and he said, "Hey, where you going with that thing?" And he motioned for us to come over, and we come over there for a minute, and he was asking, and at this time, I'm still a pretty rough looking cat, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell I'm going through some things, and so he didn't. I told him a little bit about what we had going on. I was like, "Man, I'm going to take my guitar. I got this tryout gig on Monday," and he said, "Well, can you play me a song?" And I played him it's the song by the band called "The Weight, Take a Load Off, Annie." You remember that song?
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but I played him that song, and he bought us a cup of coffee and a pastry, and we went on our way. And so I walked the guitar over there the whole way there and drop it off to the guy. He doesn't know I'm not even able to pay him. You know what I mean? I just gave it to him and said, "Okay, just call me when it's done." And so I didn't know what I was going to do. I was anxious, I was depressed, I was excited, all at the same time, you know. And so we made it all the way back, and we're going over the Bridge of Lines, and my phone rings, and the place was called Mi Casa Cafe, and it's Mi Casa Cafe. I've never been in there. They don't allow homeless people in there. This lady didn't know I was homeless, to be honest with you. Yeah. And so it's Mi Casa Cafe, and he says, "Hey man, is this Josh?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, man, there's an old man that just come in here and left you some money. If you'd like to come pick it up." And I was like, "Wow!" And so I went, and I remember not telling the guy. I didn't tell him like how much I needed or anything, but I probably didn't have $1 left over after I paid everything I needed to pay and get everything I needed to get, man. And that was one of the first times that I prayed, and the Lord. Like it happened, I was like, "Whoa," you know, like.
But he's so specific.
Yeah, and it was quick too, and the Lord ain't always like that, you know. You don't always just pray and I need this and it happens, you know. But He was showing me that He cared for me, and He was showing me He was there, and He was growing me in that. And so I got the guitar fixed, I got the microphone, I did the gig. It went terrible. I was so nervous, but people were kind to me and good to me, and now I plumb do it for a living, you know.
You got saved, you got a guitar, and then you got a place to live all in the same week.
Yeah, that's yeah. So I played the gig. It went terrible. I was so nervous, and at the end of the gig, as my buddy, he's little Ozzy, but he was at the
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, 4 foot. His promo said he's the world's smallest, biggest star, or Aussie star or something. I can't remember. It's funny, but he offered us our first place to live. It was a garage with a bed, no bathroom, no nothing, just a room with a bed, and we were so happy and so thankful, you know. We'd have to go in his house and use the bathroom, take a shower, but so yeah, I got saved. I got my first gig. I got a place to live.
That place is now Pierre's, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mi Casa Cafe is now Pierre's.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before, it was this lady named Marnie, and she was a redheaded lady from Canada, and she absolutely, bless her heart, she did not like homeless people. She would run them away from standing at the door, and she had no clue that I was homeless. She had no idea and she had hired me. And so when I get to gigging, I was like sort of like the Elvis of the homeless world. You know, I had made it. You know, so all my homeless friends, they were like, "Wow, you're playing in a place." So they would come and like hang out at the door, and so she was going crazy, you know. yeah, you know, yeah.
I was the Elvis of the whole.
Yeah, like it was wild.
Elvis of the homeless.
You know, yeah, like and even in that, God used that like because that was a testimony that testified of itself. You know, I didn't have these guys knew me. They lived in the woods with me. Some of them did drugs with me, and they physically watched my life begin to transform.